Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Velasco Sports. I'm Justin Velasco. The Chicago White Sox have made so many moves so far. The biggest move is Munetaka Murakami. The White Sox have signed Murakami to a 2-year, $34 million deal out of Japan, who will be the White Sox new first baseman. They're going to see if they can help him out with the contact rate that everybody is down upon. But this man is absolute monster. Some consider him as the Japanese Babe Ruth. He doesn't really like that because Mooney just wants to be Mooney, and that's the great thing, is to not get caught up in comparisons. Another big thing the White Sox have done is they're about to get the number 1 overall draft pick in 2026, coming this upcoming June. They're already pretty much favorites to get Rock Chalowski out of UCLA. He is an absolute monster. What that does for the White Sox, that moves some players to the outfield in the future and also creates trade packages to get big pieces via trade. With Rout Chalowski coming through, that could push Sam Antonacci to the outfield corner spots eventually down the line. Antonacci could also crack a case to make the White Sox opening day roster, and people aren't even mentioning him because the White Sox, for the first time in a long time, are actually making big moves this offseason. They've brought in Anthony Kay. They brought in Kelnick yesterday, who can mash, but he's struggled. But I think now under Venable, he can absolutely have a chance to tear it up and compete with Pereira and others. There's a lot of rumors going around about Luis Robert. Where will he go? Seems like the Cincinnati Reds could be the favorites. There was the Mets and the Pittsburgh Pirates at one point were also in. All three teams could put in some good packages. If I wanted to go the Mets, I would definitely want some outfield prospects back. Let's beef up the outfield because we're already beefed up in the infield and the pitching. But the pitching, some of our bigger pitchers like Noah Schultz, Hagen Smith, and Thorpe, they pitched mostly injured last year, and also they were learning new pitches from Bannister in Bannister's lab, so they weren't throwing as normal because they were tweaking things up, trying to learn extra pitches. Hopefully that turns out to be gold this upcoming season, because if we can get Thorpe healthy, Schultz coming up, this rotation in bullpen could look nasty because more prospects that pan out, less rotation spots, and then it pushes the other guys to the bullpen and then beats out the rotation in bullpen automatically. They're going to add some more pieces too. Let's beef up Chicago White Sox. Now there's reports out of Yahoo Japan, the same ones that said the White Sox were at Murakami and Okamoto's camp. They said that the White Sox are favorites to sign Imai. He has to sign by tomorrow. I think he might be able to surprise us today with signing for New Year's. Happy New Year's, everyone. Will Venable is gonna have a really good roster to work with. Last year, the first half was mostly the fill-in pieces, letting the young guys develop more in the minors. This year, you're gonna see more into the future from the start. They were like, what, 9 games under 500 in the second half, but that was caused by that 6-game losing streak. If you can take that away, the White Sox were one of the hottest teams coming out of the second half. If we can play like we did coming out of the second half from the start, this team is going to be dangerous and surprise everyone. Everyone thought that we weren't going to make moves, and then we got Murakami. Like, not just Murakami, there was a lot more other bullpen moves, and people were surprised about Kelenic yesterday. Oh, and the White Sox also signed Sean Newcomb, and Martin Perez could still be waiting in the wings because last year he was injured, but he stuck by and worked with the younger players. And I believe Martin Perez is going to be added soon too. If we could add Imai with Martin Perez, and then if we can pull a trifecta with all 3 Japanese players and get Okamoto, who actually the White Sox were the heaviest on. The White Sox wanted Okamoto from day one, so I don't think they just backed out because they signed Murakami. The White Sox hired a bunch of scouts and hired some front office members to put boots on the ground. Dave Keller said Dave Keller spent time watching all of them. So it's not like they just jumped in because the market got low. The White Sox have been in on all the Japanese players from day one. People just need to tag big market teams like the Cubs and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the Phillies. They want to tie them in because they don't believe the White Sox are going to spend, even though the White Sox have spent more than most of those teams this offseason so far. So they're making big surprises in that Newcomb and Kelenic were moves that nobody was even talking about. They also got Tristan Peters and Murray from the Rays for Wilson. And then earlier in last season, there was a lot of rumors about Kyle Teal going back to Boston, which was rumors from Boston's media. I think they regret trading Teal in the Crochet trade, but we wouldn't have given up Crochet without including Teal. And it would be absolutely stupid to send Teal back after acquiring him, after he shows that he can perform. Like, oh, you guys traded him, now you want him back after you see that you made a mistake. Like, you're not going to get Teal back. And then they followed it up with Caro. You're not going to get Caro either because Chris Getz even said those two are pretty much our future, and they're basically untouchable without saying they're untouchable, because Reinsdorf doesn't like to say anyone's untouchable. But they're pretty damn close to untouchable. The core is pretty much untouchable. You will see probably maybe Vargas or Lennon Sosa packaged with like Benintendi or Robert if a deal can get done, because the Robert rumors are getting spicy. I can see that happening. I see like prospects with no future on the club getting packaged for like to take advantage of teams like the Phillies that are trying to eat contracts of their stars to shake things up so you can maybe go out and get Castellanos for maybe Sosa, a pitcher or something. If the Phillies are trying to eat some money and free up some space on their roster, maybe you can take advantage of them a little bit. And a lot of people keep on saying the White Sox aren't ready to compete. I believe they're ready to compete this year. Like, you got Mydra with Kyle Teal that both can get on base and hit for average in front of Colson Montgomery and Munetaka. If Robert doesn't get traded, you have Montgomery, Munetaki, Murakami, and Robert back to back to back. That's gonna. If Robert comes back strong, you can have 3 guys that can hit 40 home runs in the same lineup in front of guys that can get on base. That means a lot of those 40 home runs are going to result in 2 to 3 run homers and sometimes random grand slams that just change the whole game. And then you got a really good pitching staff that people think isn't going to be that good or that deep because some pitchers got hurt and had Tommy John surgery early in spring, but they were on the top 100 list and they were ranked pretty high before they got hurt. So it tells you that they can't go to Bannister's lab and get stronger, and some of them weren't actually fully in Bannister's lab for a long time. Now they get a chance to learn new things while healthy, and that could really, really boost this team. Ryan Fuller has absolutely done a great job with the White Sox offense, helped Colson change things around. Never had any doubt about Colson. A lot of people did because he had a rough, half season. But he still racked the ball. It wasn't like Colson wasn't terrible. He just, sometimes people fall out with their mental health and then that catches up to them. Sometimes they just need someone like Fuller and Getz to sit there and pump them back up and get them back in the mindset. Someone needs to tell them just be yourself and do what you needed to get that got you here in the first place. Colson's also really good at basketball. He was a really good person at Sox Fest. Kyle Teal was pretty cool. They were talking to me and having me try to I wanted to be a broadcaster, so they were having me do my intro and stuff, and it was really cool. I'm going this year. Can't wait to see everybody again. Hopefully the Sox can sign Imai or Okamoto, and then I can meet all of them at Sox Fest if they're announced. Sox Fest is going to be the 30th and 31st. It's the yearly tradition, and it's really, really cool. Can't wait till Ishbia completely takes over, but you can tell that he's definitely handing Get some money under the table, and they're gonna say Jerry put it up there, but I think Ishbia is gonna collaborate with Jerry on payroll. I don't think Ishbia is just gonna sit there and watch, and you can already see like the money being spent so far. Um, a lot of rumors out there. They like to tie the big market so you can get more people to their articles. They're gonna until the White Sox sign someone like huge. They're gonna not tie us to anyone. But you know what? That's okay. We'll stay the underdogs. Because then that'll mean that you'll throw a pitch right over the middle from Murakami, thinking they can't hit a fastball, and he just crushes the grand slam off of you. Keep doubting the White Sox, because they're gonna come back and they're gonna show everybody this year. Ishba even said like he loves to overpay his employees just so they can feel comfortable, and he likes to hear like they're like struggling at home and make sure that they're not struggling at home as long as they're working with him. Also, he likes to kind of rather overpay than underpay employees, and give them extra benefits that they didn't that they asked for. So I think that mindset is really good, and I think the White Sox start extending the core, and they even extend Murakami after this year. I don't think they're just gonna let him try out for 2 years and then let him hit the market. Ishbia will have a plan to try to extend him, and I think that's when we'll start to see the big contracts start to happen. And I think before 2028, the White Sox might have their first $100 million contract. I could see it being for Murakami. If the White Sox can land the trifecta of Murakami, Imai, and Okamoto, that will instantly put the White Sox towards the top of the AL Central Division. I think people are just shy to say that the White Sox are making improvements because they don't want the backlash. But I'm not afraid to say it. The White Sox are going to come back and show everybody. But if we could add Rock Chalowski next year, that could push Colson to maybe third base. Mydroth might stay at second, but he might be a super utility infielder because you got Bonner coming up, and you got Bergola and others. Sam Antonacci, it looks like him and Bergola could probably move to the outfield corner spots. And then you also got Braden Montgomery that can crack the club. This team is going to be young and talented. So far, they have nobody. The oldest player is 32 on the roster, which is crazy, and that's nice because that means they're going to be together for a long time. And a lot of the players have like apartments and stuff together out in Nashville. Okamoto and Murakami are like really close friends. So if they can sign Imai by tomorrow, the chances of them signing the trifecta is very high because I was reading about how they were best friends and they even go out and eat with each other, and having the culture and the friendship could really drive decisions of who they go to because it's also a comfort thing, not all a money thing. I feel like people think everything is just the highest dollar, but it seems like it's not always the highest dollar, especially with the Japanese community. It seems like they also look at the community and how they're respected by the team. Like the Japanese are way more conscious about their surroundings and community, which I wish we were more like that than we are. It seems like there's a lot more greed over here than in Japan. Japan doesn't seem totally greedy. It seems like they're more like family and making sure everybody around them gets what they need to succeed, like, and they accommodate each other. Seems like in Japan they have to work like a, they're like military. They like work like a military style in everything they do. Even in batting practice, they were saying like when they do batting practice, they line up at like 4 different places. Even if the other people are on the field, they just keep going. Like there's no like, I don't think they have take like optional batting practice. I think they're automatically there because they're like dedicated, and that's why some of the like Otani is so good. Um, Seiya Suzuki of the Cubs is pretty good, and so is Shota when he is on. Also, if the White Sox sign multiple Japanese players, Shota and Suzuki are free agents next year, and if Tom Ricketts, sorry, Todd is the son of Tom, isn't spending money and is looking towards his core, the White Sox can scoop in and grab some more Japanese players because they are building a pipeline. They've hired multiple people out of Japan that have actual ties to Imanaga and Seiya too. Um, Let me get you the name. One of them is Shingo, and it's Satoshi Takashi. Um, they hired Takashi out of Japan to help with the Japanese realm. The White Sox are establishing themselves and also building a pipeline in the Dominican, Japan, and um, other areas to build out this organization in other realms across the world. So if the White Sox can build their Japanese pipeline, they've had Japanese and Cuban pipelines established. If they can build up on the more MTV players, sorry, this organization's going in the right direction. Hopefully, when the HBS take over, he spends kind of like the Dodgers. Maybe we can get some. Maybe when we start spending, we can get more TV deals, and then we can get better distribution. I know that CHSN is on like Xfinity and other places. I hope they can get across to like Wisconsin and Indiana and stuff so more people can get the reach. Especially now with the White Sox now establishing themselves in the Japanese market, they're gonna wanna fix the reach of their TV stations so they can get the whole country of Japan to watch their games too. That will also help bring in some revenue, and that might draw other people into offering us bigger TV deals so we can have better distribution through CHSN. I wish they would get it on Spectrum because out in Wisconsin right now, um, it's kind of hard, but I still get games through MLB.TV. So if you are out of market, get MLB.TV because then you pay $30 a month and you can get all the games except Milwaukee Brewers if you're in Wisconsin. People that have like 5 different streaming apps, if they're getting up to $30 a month, you might just want to get Spectrum or get a cable service. Because Spectrum has Hulu and all of those streaming apps built into the plan for 160. So if Hulu Live is 70, you might as well just upgrade with the Spectrum and get part of the plan and then make a small upgrade with your plan through that way maybe. And then you can get all those traditional channels and live sports through your cable plan instead of trying to do 10 different apps at 20, $30 a month and you're paying like, you don't navigate as easy. Also, some TV plans have those apps built in, so you're paying for 500 channels plus the apps all in one rather than just individual and then not have the live channels. So if that helps you out, you can go that route too. I think it's smarter to, especially when you live on your own, you gotta find ways to save money. Um, but watching Chuck Garfien and Ozzie Guillen, I can't wait to get back to watching the pre and post game show. CHSN has the best pre and post game show and the best people on there. It's very motivating, and I've been watching them since I was like a child. I don't even remember games without Chuck. Well, actually, I do. It was I remember it was Bill Melton and Dan Jiggets way back in the day on FSN. And unfortunately, we lost Bill Melton. Bill Melton was really cool. I remember at Sox Fest one year, Chuck Garfien was trying to teach him some slogans, and he was trying to teach him WTF, and it was hilarious. I'm hoping this year at Sox Fest we get to meet Murakami. I hope that gets announced soon. I'm out. I had 2 back surgeries, so and lost like the nerves in my legs, so I'm on crutches now. But I'm still going to Sox Fest. I gotta be there. That's my yearly tradition. So is opening day. So I'm also gonna try to get to Beef Loaves from the 108 after party. I believe that's at Rockies Bar and Grill on the 31st after Sox Fest. So hopefully we can get there too. And I'm gonna give the from 108 some applause. They even had a cool bobblehead made for them by the White Sox. They sit in the right field rail or by the right field foul pole in that corner. They should have moved it a little bit over to maybe 106, just so that they can be in the Murakami Zone. Actually, no, that's the 103, 104 zone. Actually, we're over by the Miller Lite bullpen bar. You can get like passes, all you can drink there. Um, I don't drink booze, but the Canton chicken and all the food is top notch, and then you can pay like $60 and you can get a lower level ticket, and you can sit all you can eat, all you can drink from an hour and a half before the game till about the second, third inning, and you get a lower level ticket. And some of them have leather seats with TVs. That's really cool. Um, Going on Fridays, I can't wait. Fireworks nights every Friday. That's really, real cool. You gotta go there and then check out the days that they give giveaways. They give really cool giveaways like let me see. Yes, see. Here is the Mark Burley one. Sorry. Um, this is because he had 1,396 strikeouts and 161 wins. Mark Burley was awesome. He had 27 complete games, also a no hitter and a perfect game. The White Sox have a lot of cool things that you can go to. See, way back when I was younger, I met Tadahito Iguchi. I'm the one in the black shirt farthest from him. Next to my brother with the white shirt. And if I lost the bat, but here's a cool one. Southpaw. Southpaw's our mascot. Southpaw is awesome. You'll see Southpaw, especially if you're a Sox fan. You go to an event, Southpaw will come up to you. And you gotta go on fireworks nights. Those are awesome. I can't wait to see the new regime. I can't wait to see what Will Venable, how he's gonna be this year in his second year managing. Feel like he's gonna be a lot more comfortable with the core being able to play from the start and not just fill in players, letting the core develop in the minors. A lot of people don't understand that it wasn't the prospects that were booting the ball in the first half. It was like the fill-in guys that we hired to let the prospect develop. When the prospects came up, the White Sox played better than like anybody in the second half start. They were hitting like the most home runs from like June to August. They just slipped up on that losing streak. Otherwise, they would have finished 500 in the second half and possibly avoided 100 losses for the third time. But I kind of look at this whole thing, what happened, as a blessing. Because maybe if we didn't lose 100 plus games, maybe we would still have Kenny Williams and Rick Hahn running things, and we never would have reconstructed the whole organization. So it could have been just a whole blessing that nobody saw coming. I'm not going to hold 2 years or last year over the players' heads that weren't even here. That's one thing that I wish people on White Sox Twitter would stop doing. But everyone just gets so mad online so easy. I just hope this core puts something out and it changes everybody's perspective, because even the national media doesn't like to tie us to any players that we are in. They just completely ignore it and say that we aren't spending, but we spent more than the teams that they say are going to spend. So the coverage isn't really good, and I don't think it's going to be good until the next time the Sox make the playoffs. But also, they forgot the White Sox won the World Series on numerous occasions. So, how do I expect the media just to start covering us in a better light? There's teams that haven't even won the World Series in over 50 years that get all the love. There's teams that don't even have a World Series that get more love, but it's because the rivals of everybody's favorite Chicago Cubs. And you know what? This year, the White Sox are just going to come back and battle and show everybody that they were wrong about us. So later on, we'll see if the White Sox can get Imai. There's a deadline, and then Okamoto's deadline is the 4th. So until then, Happy New Year's. I'm Justin Velasco. This is Velasco Sports, and I'll see you later.